The race to 5G is on, and the battle for talent is getting fierce. Welcome to 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, a podcast dedicated to helping you face the future workforce head on. Navigate this challenging talent landscape with innovative strategies to attract, retain, and engage people in this new world of work. Only here on 5G Talent Talk with Carrie Charles, CEO of Broadstaff Talent Solutions.
Thank you for joining me today on 5G Talent Talk. I'm your host, Carrie Charles, and I am really excited that you are here with me today. I'm always excited that you're here with me today, but today's going to be special. We have Brian Stading, the CEO of Lumos Fiber. Brian, thanks so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure and it's an honor. Thank you, Carrie, for having me.
Yes. So let's start with you and talk about how you got to where you are today. It's just your stories, maybe throw in a challenge you overcame.
Yeah, sure. Well, it's been a long time in the process. So I started out right out of college as a telecom technician, and I was a technician for about 4, almost 5 years, and then moved into various roles. And I've had the opportunity to do just about everything I've set out to do in terms of, having international assignments, running divisions, operational assignments. So I've been very, very fortunate to have opportunity to do just about all that I wanted to do. I think people ask me that a lot. And I think probably there's one defining moment in my career that stands out the most. And it really changed the trajectory for everything. So I moved into kind of an IT project management realm where I was managing some development projects. And the company, I was at Ameritech at the time, and company was doing a bigger reorganization. And I wanted to move more into the business side, kind of get into the business side. And so there was a strategic marketing role that was opened up. I interviewed for, and the person that was hiring finally said, well, I can't hire you. And I said, well, why not? And they said, because A, you make too much money. I can't pay what you make. And B, you're too technical. And then C, you'd be the only person in this group that didn't have an MBA from a really good school. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. I said, I'll take the less money. And after a year, if I exceed your expectations, then you'll support me to go back and get my MBA. And she said, okay, deal. And so that's what really was probably the defining moment. And I worked, for that year, I worked day and night and tried to outwork everybody that had their MBA, and very fortunate to have some people who supported me. So that's probably one of the defining moments. And I guess the lesson there is sometimes you got to take a risk and you got to bet on yourself, right? And because everything's not going to fall in place all the time for you, and people aren't just going to give you things. You really got to go get it. And so that's one of my.
Wow. We all need to hear that, Brian. I mean, especially probably our children right now. Definitely, right? But no, we all need that inspiration. That was awesome. So can you tell me the story of Lumos Fiber?
Yeah, no, great. So Lumos Fiber is a combination of two legacy telephone companies. One was Lumos Networks in Virginia. One was North State Communications in North Carolina. They were merged, brought together. Company was created, was a company called Segra. Then Segra in 2021 was sold to Cox Communications. And then, so Cox kept the enterprise, kind of the B2B side of the business, and wanted to spin out the residential and the small business side. And so that's what happened in 2021. So we formed a company. We ultimately named it Lumos because you had to come up. It was hard to stay with the name North State if you're going to go to more states. So we decided on Lumos, and we launched the business 2021, and it's been just a tremendous growth experience the last 2.5, 3 years.
Wow. And you have some exciting news to share. Can you share that with me?
Yeah, so some may have heard. We announced that we are entering into a joint venture with T-Mobile. We're very, very excited about that. They announced it on their earnings calls. It's been something that we've been working on for quite a while. And we couldn't be more excited. Essentially, EQT being one of the world's largest private equity firms, T-Mobile being one of the biggest and best brands in the industry, come together, create a 50-50 joint venture. And then Lumos will be the platform that will build fiber, deliver service on top of leveraging T-Mobile's, brand and marketing presence and pure tremendous marketplace sales capability. So, there's a lot of strategic reasons why it makes sense. Obviously, we couldn't be any more excited than partnering with somebody of T-Mobile's caliber. And it's but as I said, it's one of those things where we caught the bus now. Now we got to deliver, and it's just going to fuel some tremendous growth that we're excited about.
Yes. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting. So talk about excitement. What exciting opportunities are you seeing in our industry right now?
Yeah, to me, we're really still just getting started with the whole fiber evolution or revolution or whatever you want to call it, right? You've kind of gone through the cable industry, and then you go through the wireless business, and fiber is this technology that it's going to be the best technology, I think, for the foreseeable future. And the way people are using the internet nowadays for home entertainment, for schooling, for work from home, telemedicine, and it's just the application going to keep growing. So I am so excited that I think we're just at the start of this huge dynamic growth, and I couldn't be more excited about it in the industry. And one of the things that just to me changes everything is every day when people talk about getting our fiber service and they can now do what they need to do from work or from school or whatever, we're really changing people's lives. And I get so many customers reaching out, telling us how their life has changed with our fiber service. And I tell you what, it's very, very exciting.
And that means everything, right?
It really does. It really does. And, just one story. I got many stories. I try to start our board meetings, every meeting with a story, right? Because you get into the numbers and you get into the PowerPoints and all that, but you lose track of what we're really doing every day. And, I got a call one day from a great partner of ours up in Virginia, Botetourt County. And a constituent called and said, hey, for me to interview for this job, I've got to prove that I have the appropriate internet with the appropriate latency just so I can interview with this job and work from home. And, is there any way you can bring Lumos Fiber to my house? We were building fiber there, by Thursday of this week. This is like a Tuesday. And like, sure, we'll get it there by Thursday. Just, so people can have an opportunity to have a job and work from home. And it's just things like that.
I just got chills. I love hearing this. And so obviously there's been challenges with, at Lumos. What have been maybe some of those challenges or one of those challenges that you've had to overcome maybe just since you've been at Lumos Fiber?
Yeah, it's really been a process. It's hard to put your finger on one specific one because you launched a new brand, right? You got to get people familiar with the new brand. You got to create a new culture. You got to go from a legacy telephone company to a fiber overbuilder. You got to grow, in the first year, we built about 15,000 homes. The second year, we built 68,000 homes. The third year, 115,000 homes. So just building just the muscle memory to be able to do that, to build the additional sales channels. So it's really been a continuous process. And I don't really look at my challenges. I look at opportunities, right? Opportunities to prove yourself. And so it's really been a kind of, like I said, like a process that has been multifaceted, but it's been great.
So that's a lot to go. That's a lot of change. Those are a lot of opportunities, if you will. So what would you say? I know this is probably a difficult question, but if you could say there's one thing that really helped, the team make this a success, what would it be?
I think it's really an employee base that jumped on board and they were all in, right? The people that decided, hey, this is something we want to do, and they changed their mindset. They were willing to work differently than they used to be working, if you will. And so it's really been, the collective team and employees that have grabbed this and said, okay, we're on the bus and we're going to go. And so it's that to me is the key. And that's what, kind of driving change and leadership is about, is really getting people to believe in the philosophy that you're pushing forward.
Well, let's talk about your company culture a little more in depth. So what makes Lumos unique?
Well, the thing that makes us, I think, the most unique, if I point to one thing, is our commitment to customer experience. It was great when I got here, and it's continued to be great as we've grown. Now, that was the biggest fear was, okay, when you're just kind of small, doing your own little thing, you got a routine, you got it down. But now we're growing, we're expanding, 3 or 4 times size. How do you maintain that core fundamental belief and experience? And so to me, that's what does differentiate Lumos from other companies. Look, a lot of companies talk about customer experience, that's in all their, vision and strategy and all that, but they don't really deliver on it. And the fact that, we do focus on customer experience and we do whatever we can take, and people have bought into it. That is, that's something to me is that we're most proud of. And that's why I love wearing my Lumos branded shirts, because other companies you've been with, and they're like, oh, you work for so-and-so, I only tell you about the problem. You couldn't go to a party with it. Right now, people, they love it. And so it's really cool.
And it sounds like is that what you're most proud of, is wearing that shirt and knowing what you can do for people and customers?
Yeah, it does. It is something that it does excite you. And I know people say to me all the time, what gets you up? What excites you? What you get up in the day? And I thought that the fact that I get to change, the team, get to change people's lives every day by bringing this phenomenal technology so that they can improve their life is what gets me up every day. I just can't. I mean, there's been in this industry a long time, and it's been really haven't had that kind of breakthrough, life-changing capability that we have today. So that's what really excites me.
When the leader has that passion and that why, it just permeates through the whole organization. And I think it's very important for the leader to have that, right? And to be able to, to get that into the hearts, the souls, the DNA of every single team member, right? All the way down to the customers, and just get that, really have that spread there. I think that's so important. And it sounds like that's happening now. What would you say, like, who is Brian Stading as a leader? Tell me about
that's can be a very complicated question or simple question. And actually my board pushes me a lot on that, especially our chairman. She's great about the culture and all that. And thinking through this, so, a lot of companies have their whatever guiding principles or their, whatever. To me, a lot of those are cliche, right? And I don't want to be another cliche. I want to have something that's very definable and actionable for people to understand. So I've got about 12 business philosophies that to me, if you do those philosophies, then the culture creates itself, right? Because the problem with culture is people really don't care what you say. It's what you do, how you act, right? And you have to tell them, but then you have to show them. Really, that comes down to 100% of how you carry yourself, how you act. And so there's key things that I try to drive. Like, number one is, make decisions. Everybody should make decisions. I mean, we all make good decisions. We all make bad decisions. But if the decision is made based on what's best for the customer, what's best for the business, and then what's best for you personally last, we'll be fine. If those get reversed, we're going to have a problem. So the big thing is, everybody should feel free to make the appropriate decisions that's good for the business. And focus on customer experience. We're reward success, but recognize. I don't even like to use it failures. I like recognize opportunities to learn. right? And so, and just be open and honest and be transparent. So it's those types of things that you try to kind of get in, and when you show people that this is what you say and this is what you mean and this is what you do, people jump on pretty quickly.
And they trust you, right? I mean, it develops trust, not just you, but they trust the company. They having that trust, allows them to say, okay, I can make a mistake. And then that's innovation, right? That produces innovation right there. No, that's
yeah. If you're not making some decisions that don't work out, then you're not making enough decisions, right? Because you're right. Because if you're innovating, not everything's going to work out perfect,
right?
And adjust the plan, right? So
yes. So how do you develop leaders at Lumos?
Yeah, the big thing for me is try to make it all inclusive in terms of cross-functional, right? So in very important meetings, at financial meetings, you don't just have your accountants and your finance. You bring in your operations, you bring in sales, bring in legal, right? So everybody has, because if you want a decision that is engineering based, just get a bunch of engineers wrong. But if you want the best decision, you need everybody's collective input. And so the more exposure and the more visibility people have to other parts of the business, they're less likely to start pointing fingers or blaming because they've been part of the whole process for understanding what we're trying to accomplish, why we're making the decisions we're making. So it's really creating a cross-functional environment that gets people out of their lanes. Is kind of my core philosophy.
I love that. And also I heard, giving people a voice, right? And
absolutely.
Their input. I mean, that is exactly what the generations want today. I mean, all generations, but specifically millennials and Gen Z, they want a voice. And then that leads to retention. And so, boy, you're checking a lot of boxes here, Brian. This is great. Let's switch. Let's move over to workforce and talent. And what challenges do you see or has your team had with acquiring and retaining talent today? And also the two-part question is, any strategies that are working for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we've been pretty successful in terms of attracting talent. I would say we've been for the most part retaining the talent that we really want. The problem is when you're PE backed like us in a company, you're not going to be paying the most in salary. There's more. You got to look at the reward down the road versus with short term incentives, if you will. So that's probably one of the bigger challenges that we have what we're doing. But and we're growing so fast. You're gonna make some good hires. You're gonna make some that didn't work out for whatever reason. I think the thing that probably, I hate to say this, the thing that probably has worked well for us that I learned during the whole COVID experience is, we're pretty much work remotely. And so when we, and I think we have figured out the thread that makes it effective and efficient, even though everybody's not in the same room all the time. But for example, when I got here, we probably had employees in like 5 states. Now we have employees in about 28 states. So, there's certain things that can be done remotely. There's certain things that are better off, being collective, or you got to be very mindful at when you bring people together or when you have to be in the office. But I would say it's allowed us to attract some unbelievably amazing talent by not forcing them to move, give them the flexibility to work remotely. So I since I'm in the office every day, it's hard for me to say, but that's probably true.
Right. Yeah. It is true, actually. And so many people these days, I know we see it in staffing all the time. They're looking for either remote or hybrid opportunities. And but it goes alongside with your business model, right? And your passion and your why of everything that Lumos is doing, which is allowing people to work remote and to be able to have that connectivity and that opportunity. So it's in alignment with that.
Yeah. And it's hard for people these days, these families, to pick up, if you have young kids or taking care of, elderly parents, it's hard for people to. It really impacts their lives in a lot of ways, and so I've really come around to adjusting my philosophy on that over time, thanks to COVID and thanks to great internet.
Yes, and I think I have too. Let me ask one question around that though, because we've all, I think many of us as leaders are in that same space. But how do you keep people engaged and, I guess remotely? And anything special, any tips that you can give us that's working for you?
Yeah, I don't know there's any secret sauce but we have, I'm pretty adamant that the leadership team comes together in person at least once a month just to do that. And then it's having the all-employee video calls to update, here's our result. You may not care about our business results, but I'm going to tell you about them anyways. So we do that every quarter. And then twice a year, we do go to the big population centers of our employee base and do in-person town halls so they can hear, at the beginning of the year, what our strategies are, what our key focus is, and then mid-year, how we doing. This is what we told you. This is how we're doing. So we do that. The entire leadership team does that, twice a year. So it's really kind of trying to over-communicate as much as possible, just so people, and then making sure people have a voice and allow them to ask any questions that they want to ask. And I'll tell you, I tell everybody, you can ask any question you want to ask. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer. You may not like my answer, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So just make sure you understand what question you want to ask. So that's kind of my focus is you really can't over communicate. And when people say that there's a suggestion enacted, or they hear the customer experience, I think it gets you motivated. So it's something you got to stay focused in on for sure. Right.
Yes, you really do. And you got to keep it alive, right? Because people can, get in their own world sometimes when they're remote. So this is fantastic. I could keep asking you so many questions. So the last one is, what's the vision? There's exciting times ahead. What's the vision for the future for Lumos?
Yeah, the vision, if we stated with this new partnership with T-Mobile that, we want to pass 2.8 million homes in the next few years with fiber. So the vision is really build as much fiber as fast as you can, and then make sure that we put as many happy customers on it as we can. So it's not overly complicated, but that's really the mission that we're on, and really excited to do it because it's just really the right thing to do. So.
So how can we reach Lumos? And are you hiring? Is there a career page that we can know about?
So yeah, you can go to, I'm still old school because I say www.lumos.
It's okay. Right? A lot of people do.
Yeah, I think we should say go lumosfiber.com, there. And yes, I think we have over 60 job openings right now, and we're really just getting started. So yes, there are plenty of opportunities. If people are excited about fiber and building fiber and providing the best internet in the world and the best customer experience in the world, then we're excited to have you.
And changing lives. And those were your words. And I love that, Brian. I love it. So, and I appreciate you coming on the show. This has been a pleasure. I know I'm inspired and I've learned a lot from you. So I cannot wait to see what Lumos is going to do over the next few years and decades.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to another informative episode of 5G Talent Talk, brought to you by RCR Wireless News, Telecom Careers, and Broadstaff Talent Solutions. As we advance into the future, we promise to bring you the resources you need to navigate this ever-changing landscape of 5G to help you attract, retain, and engage people in this new world of work. To access the show notes or leave a review, visit broadstaffglobal.com. Until next time.